Awa na.
No. Lagi atak yapon. Dasag patyo ng damang Diyos.
Wala.
Ton, dula ta Minecraft ton de. Ton eh. Allah, dito. Hala, la idala.
Naso kong manok.
Gala mo mga manok. Abi na hugusa kapag nga ilaga la.
Ilaga. Ilaga.
Ayo to ni pak nim damang bana.
Di ba na ay damang mamaak?
Nan, nagpak day na. Ipak day na jiban la. Anak ko'y kimpin. Na ko'y kimpin manong.
Gamay na halok ba?
Madlo ka na.
Ipatong ko ulo.
Wow, Daddy! Wow! Wow! Ibog ko, Daddy! Suya ko! Wow! Suya kayo siya! Suya kayo sa anak-anak!
Alam mo na. Dito ay na. Na, doon tulog ba?
Bebe.
Na, usa lagi na ron daw.
Bam!
Baling katawa!
Yung.
Murag.
Oh, magbanday dyan sa agak. Ay, nakwaw mo. Please give me.
Usa na? Rajas.
Uy, yes.
Bukan nga na boy.
Ni kaya ipakamang rin. Yabi, mamakoy.
Kuya Marco! Ibalang tawa, Mark!
Ay, nanay.
Marco, bro! Kada kaya biboy, Mark!
Ah, simba ko pala yung ayaw mo.
Na.
Ayaw dong, sulod dong.
Yatag niya, Mark!
Kasi ayaw mo.
Kanya mo imo.
Ayaw.
Yatag, Mark! Wala, just.
Maayaw siya balon na iri ba? Kikadala siya kuwan. Si bayi ko. Chico chico, Ayaw pasudla diri ba? Marco,
Laki, diri. Di ka lang yung makos. Naigo ka sa? Sakit?
pagluto.
Surat iba.
Oh, iya. Hindi magyapit. Hindi.
Dapat subukan nyo. Mabalik sa politika. Pagpagsimunin sa isla ay nagaw. Ito ka ba kita para pang-boxing? Dili lang nagaw. At unapot sila mga equipments and apparels para pang-basketball, volleyball, badminton, table tennis, lawn tennis, pang-karate o pang-mixed martial arts. James apparels, mga gamit pang-pamingwit, billiard, chess, darts, sports shoes o kupal pa. Basta talagang pampasingot na sila. Kasala, alas 8 sa buntag, hanggang alas 5 sa hapon. Ang atos sa sporting goods na inutan kini sa Carolina Street, maraming na senior ward all sa senior ISU, alike sa may senior middle school, matag sa numero na 0917-36-4846 or sa landline na 0355 okay daw. Excited na kayo kung magpasigaw. Alam ko daw.
Ay, nakang na. Survival na.
Dalintora. Taga-akan ko ni Gross.
Apel na para ba?
Lain ka kong pamina sa lawas niya. Pero nung kapon, sa kanya nakainom na ko. Sige na ko din inom. Kaya nakatulawas ka lang. Hindi ako batid ka kapoy. Kanang, sige na lang kung kuala ni panglaba, panglimpyo.
Taga-masag, third.
Mawag ka pa, minum ko.
Mama ko ibig. Asa?
Kung ako nasunta ninyo, pag-inom.
Ay, agsauna na nato sa. Dili bang ni.
Kung sa lawas, nakabagsik. Ayun.
Kuya, lami ka bread. Murag building ko.
Touch your engine with Tokachi, a Japanese quality, fully
Oh.
synthetic ug semi-synthetic
Itong makagita pagkuan. May makakita ko kartong
commercial vehicle ug ilabas
Ito.
ang heavy equipment. Kini ang bago.
village. Dayo na ay mga armor. Tatagan tikaw. Oh.
Available
Wala kong gagaan.
sa ating
Sige, ako.
Tokachi engine oil.
Ade, di man ko magpa-creative. Ano wala mo good ni cheats.
Paglikay sa mga peking produkto, ang genuine
Ay,
Tokachi oils and
naka-creative man ka.
lubricants gigamit o
Di man di ko
pagpapagawa sa
ipa-creative.
Negros Oriental
Di man
sa
yung-
Oil and Express, Biman, Carrier Center, R4 Tire and Car Supply.
Kani ang man mong kumukuha na na ako ito ng cheats. Doon sa ko mag-creative.
Organic Bikes Spot, Lucky Boys,
Wow.
Parts, Raiders, Sport, Parts and
Creative lagi siya.
Accessories, Barge,
Tower ba di?
MCCR, Motorcycle,
Mamadili ang sound ikaw.
Grudge, Motor
Bagon.
Parts, Pit Stop,
Agad ba rin?
RV, Autoshop,
Abot ko ano.
pagtingin sa Sikihor sa Lube Gas Station sa Sikihor o sa Lube Gas Station sa Maria Sikihor. The hub, the first and the pioneer FM radio station in the province of Sikihor.
Ay, kung makachit ko kay pagodeton tikag damang. Tiro, tiro, tiro. Yang kiri saya mendarat albaso. Ay, bau. Mak, lah kita kog village, Mak. Marco. Mak, nakakita kong village, Mak. Oh, cold. Kong lila. Nako, di ka. Pataw na ako. Dito ko kahit kung mag-drop. Ay, nalagi ang sauna. Ang sauna na nato. Ano na hindi pa tayo kaguli mo na. Ba, uy, wala na niyoy katutong kapapa doy. Wala kang ginom doon. Tayo kapapa. Kung namatay kagulim, dito man ako dapat farm. Bobo. Oh, may polar na kayo. Kaya rin ako dito. Ang kanya-kanya. Kakawa dong. Duwa. Ano pa? Wala mag polar bear. Tig. Gamay nga polar bear. Dako. Asa? Nawala na. Natong ito. Ngasa. Ako i-exchange ni nga bed. Huwag atong puti nga bed. Sakto ka. Sakto ka sa? Sakto. Hindi. Ay mo lang to red. Ako rato kwaon man to red. Ha? Dili man ko. Asa na agion? Asa ka mo respond? Dili you. Stop. Teleport on the tikong. Pila tong, ay, kuya, pila na yung nakuhang kuan na carpet. Carpet? Katong color red. Pila? Duha? Isa? Di ba? Kailangan nagtulo. Kay para po lang tulo. Kay, di ba? Color blue dahil ko ati kayahin. Ito color blue dahil mo bed. Di para pong aking bed. Di ba? Color pula din. Sakto. Nagtulo ta. Nahulti. Buringan mong mga villager. Basa na ito. Ay, ayaw ra pag-ugingan na. Madali. Madali ra tayo noon. Ay. Babakan. Ay, na. Doon ka naman kayan. Pagkulang ko lang kalpet asa. Diba kailang mag-isa? Ay, diha. Diba? Na. Birthday. Oh, so good. Kaya akong kuan gaya. Oh. Pila ka buhok ni akong kuan. Ay, pilain mo dahil ko. Diba ato ng tabon ng pagtunog? Diba? Bet. Mangita lang ang duha. Kailangan raw na ako. Saan ako sa taas ko na? Dito ko tayo. Ito na ako. Nadaba ko na miss na balay. Ha? Tulong pa. Don! Ano dito ito? Tukara daw. Ano dito to kulay dito? Ito. Tagpasa daw yun na. Ayaw. Di bito na sila kukuhan mo. Lagtad lagi ka na. Kaya sa pag tumagkadaog kung idara siya magbantay kaya magbantay. Kaya dalagan kita yun ka. Ay na niyan. Kasi bawalag na sila bawalag. Nagilala! Kilala. Ano ito? Gamal kung balay. Tig-tig kanya ang golem. Ito. Hindi ito po. Kumamit ko na. Manadari din ang kukaana. Adoy. Di lang may ganun ko. Kaya lang ako kumakas. Wow, di logi. Ano ko nito? Dili, kailangan katong pang kuan bag ship, katong pang harvest, katong pang kuan, sini na. Kailangan kato ng gabon. Kato na kuan, emang bukon, di ba lang ganin. Bukon. Noy player, bergamay. Nay, lanata, ilan. Ilan ito. Kasi bakit na. Anak. Nanana sila. Uy, patas pa na. Isa. Tiga pun. Patay lagi. butang di ka kaiga. Natatay lagi. Lain na, ragod pinakataas kuya kay gabiin na. Tulog na. Ituon lagi kag clipper na kay lagi. ASAP. Computer.
I wasn't lying to you. Since you're even in close contact with
Close contact,
oil,
yeah.
don't freak out or anything. That can be our little secret. There's no secret to PSA. Yeah, I'm gonna have to confiscate this full bag. To the next bag, you're not keeping that one. I have a question. Have you been around or seen any livestock? You guys are so thorough with your questions. It's unbelievable. Yeah, I really do. I found this little livestock. You are gonna be detained and so.
Come on, in she go. Ooh, is that Goliath and his buddy? That's a little bit this nice. Yeah, I'm not that little. 5'9". Yo, do you got the moisture? I got
Tabot-tabot na lang.
I got salt if you want some. Can you hear it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody can hear it. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Oh. I think I'm good. Thanks. You want to sit in the middle so I can see? Oh, no. This is okay. That's fine.
Can you hold her while I run to the restroom?
Oh, yeah. It's okay. Please shut that window, dude. It's the St. Louis door. I know.
We're in Washington, Anaheim. Oh, wait, we're all flying to Anaheim.
Yeah.
Wait. See big hat guys. What do you have? Oh, no. I love flying so much. This is going to be such a fun time.
Yeah, I cannot wait.
Nice backpack. Where's the crowd?
I'm nomadic.
Oh my gosh, there's so many compartments in this. Wow. Hi, what are you doing?
Bathroom?
To the bathroom. This is Anaheim. Food.
I'm so hungry, Dad. Oh, no.
I'm looking the best I can do. I love that game.
I should have came to be getting along better this year.
They did. You guys having fun?
All right, anybody need to go to the bathroom before we leave? Luckily, your dad's a genius, and he brought a pee bottle. Today you become a man. Yeah? Your bottle. It is your bottle. Pinch it, bud. Napkins. We need napkins. Hold on. We need napkins. Are you good? Hey, sorry. Stop. I forgot my phone. Here. Let's go! Wait!
Wouldn't it be awesome if there was an electric-powered camper that was fun to drive around, had a built-in cabin, and enough off-grid power to run all your electronics? I sure thought so, so I built it. And in this video, I'm going to show you every single step of how this awesome camper was built. Then we'll load it up with gear and take it out for a beautiful night full of delicious food, intense rain, fun adventures, and so much more. And it all starts with a big old pile of wood. This time, some metal square tubing as well. Step 1, let's build the frame. I lay out the basic shape with the square tubing on the floor. Then I can take some bolts, some washers, and nylon lock nuts and begin to attach it all together. For the middle section on the frame, I came up with the idea of getting one size up on the square tubing, so I can slot it over each side, thread in some bolts, and when I tighten it down, it'll be as strong as one piece. After adding another beam along the center, it's time to introduce you on how I plan on steering this thing. Meet the scooter. That's right. I'm going to be using this as a front fork. Well, that's what I wanted at least. You see, I used a scooter in one of my previous projects where I built a mobile desktop, and honestly, it turned out fantastic for that, so I was hopeful to do the same for this one. But as you can probably tell by the thumbnail and the intro, let's just say the scooter may or may not have had some catastrophic failures later on in the build. The first hint I had that it might be a problem is when I cut off the backside of the scooter with this bandsaw. It cut through the metal like it wasn't even there. It definitely made me concerned about how strong it was. But hey, when you get a scooter and you cut off the end of it, you're gonna at least try it and see if it works. After attaching the scooter front to some square tubing, I slide it in place, add on some other metal support beams, and then I bolt the frame nice and secure together. With the basic shape of our top frame complete, it's time to introduce you into how we're actually going to get this thing moving. Meet the motor. This is a 48-volt, 1000-watt brushless motor, and I originally planned for just this powering the thing. But then, I took a closer look at the pile of wood, and it got me a little bit worried that it was maybe a little too heavy for just that one motor. So, I ended up getting a second motor. But then I really took a good look at the pile of wood, and I did the only logical thing. I got 2 more motors. And there we go. For these motors, 4,000 watts of power should be more than enough to get this thing moving. I want to connect the motors together into 2 axles, but in order to get it to work the way I want, I do have to open up each of the differentials, spilling oil everywhere so that I can have access to the inner central gears. Because as these sit now, these are open differentials and I need to lock them down, and the easiest way I have to do that is to grab my flux core welder and just weld all the gears in place so that they can't move. And I went ahead and did that for all the gears inside of each of the differentials. Then I can reinstall all the gears, make sure that they still spin. I apply some new gasket maker because I did rip a bunch of the old ones. Then I could reinstall the motor top, bolt it all together, fill it up with some new oil, and we're good to go. And I gave the same treatment to all the motors. Now it's time to worry about how we're going to connect these together. And I'm going to be using some black steel pipe and some pipe flanges. And the flanges do line up pretty nicely with the sides of the differentials, but sadly the holes don't line up the same, so I'm going to be using one of the gaskets that come with the differential as a guide so I can lock all the pipe flanges. Then I can pop them in a vise and start the fun process of drilling through cast iron. It's always so much harder than it looks. With all of our holes drilled in, I can screw them onto each end of the pipe. Then I can grab the rubber and make it more permanent. Looking good, but they could look better. So let's give it a nice coat of paint. And I got this. This is like farm equipment paint. It's a wonderful color and it should be pretty heavy duty stuff. And the minute I opened it up, all I could think about is how much this stuff looked like that nacho cheese dip that you find at the store. Except this stuff kinda smells like glue. I give each of the pipe sections a nice solid coating of the yellow paint and let it dry overnight. And the next day, these things look great. All they're missing now is some motors. Before I bolt everything together, I take some duct tape and place it on the back of each of the flanges to act as a bit of a gasket and protector, just in case there's any debris inside of the pipes. Then I go ahead and bolt them down to each of the motors. Now for how we're going to get some wheels on it. I got some of these axle kits that fit perfectly in our differentials. They're pretty sweet and they're super easy to install. You just place on a gasket, you slot it in place, and you throw in some bolts, and just like that, we have our axles complete and ready for some wheels. And I got the perfect wheels for the job. I originally got these wheels to fit on my cabin build, but they were too thick to actually fit on, so I've just been patiently waiting for a new project. And the wheels were super easy to install. You just literally slot them on the end of the axle, you place in a large nut, and tighten it down. And that's it. With the wheels attached, the next thing to do is to attach the 2 axles together. So I grabbed some more square tubing, and using the mounts on the axles and some bolts, I go over to each side and I bolt it all together. Then I can take some more square tubing, which sadly doesn't line up perfectly since it's a weird length, so I have to drill out a couple holes in it. Then I can reinstall it, adding some other pieces for support as well, to really strengthen out this bottom part of the frame. Now for how we're going to attach the bottom frame to the top frame, with some of these shocks. These are some heavy duty shocks. They're supposedly rated for like 1,000 pounds, so they should work perfectly. And to install them, I got some of these shock mounts with some holes in them that can just easily bolt to the frame. So I go around and attach them to the bottom part of the frame. I bring over the top frame and attach the mounts to that. Then I just test fit everything to make sure I like how everything lines up. Once I'm happy with it, I can remove the top and give it all a nice coat of yellow, ensuring I cover every single inch of it with some of the yellow paint, which should give it some nice resistance to any of the elements and also make it look nice. And I gave the same paint treatment to the bottom part of the frame. And the next day, it looked good enough to cut in half, grab a piece of it, and throw it on a cracker. But honestly, I think it turned out looking fantastic, way cooler and better than it looked without any paint. Now that the frame has its fresh new look, this was the part of the build where I wanted to try to address my concerns with the weakness of the front scooter frame. So I ended up getting some anchoring cement. I've never used anything like this before, so it's as good a time as any to start. And honestly, mixing it up kind of just felt like I was making bread or something. But the plan is, I'm going to take the mixed cement, pour it into the funnel to all the pieces inside the frame so that when it hardens, it's going to solidify and make it way stronger and give it the best fighting chance it has. And the next day, when the cement's all dry, it's time to reattach the top and bottom together. And this time, I'll be using the proper hardware. I got some nuts, some bolts, some washers, and I even got some of these rubber washers which I'm going to use, which are hopefully going to minimize any sounds of metal clanking when I'm driving it around. When installing it, I install the bolt, the washer, the shock, then another washer, and then I tighten it all together. And I do the same thing for the top mount, and all the way around to all the other shock mounts as well. Now that the top and bottom of the frame are connected, it's time to head up front and reinstall the floor. But not the one it came with. I even went out of my way to source a new one, complete with its own suspension, and I even made sure that it measured and lined up so it fit exactly inside of the old head tube. I even managed to find a heavy-duty wheelbarrow wheel that would fit inside of the fork, and I got myself a set of bike pegs so I could screw them on the axle as well, so I'd have a nice place for my feet to rest and drive.
Luke here at the Outdoor Boys YouTube channel, and 1 year ago we bought an abandoned homestead in the interior of Alaska. For the next 4 months, we're going to be working like dogs, getting it ready for the winter. We're working on ATVs, fixing trucks, building roads, repairing burned buildings, demolishing cabins, and we're bringing you guys along for the ride. Last time I was here, found out my K-truck was leaking engine coolant. I really need this truck this summer if I'm going to get any projects done. And so I got to get this thing fixed. In the meantime, I'm going to take my snow dog up to the cabin and store it in my new garage. There's a lot of overflow. Everything's melting.